Hi all. So it is, what is it, Monday. um, we got back from our trip last night. Excuse me, Alice. Shh. Shh. Stop it. Put it away. Where's your ball? Yes, you got it. You got it. Alright, anyway, it is Monday. I got back late last night, and so I didn't shoot a wrap-up good night type video. We had a great trip. It was a fantastic time. The Skate America experience. Okay, I have never attended a live figure skating competition before, except for the 4 years I did ice skating. They had a nice show once every year, and they had a fun meet, I think it was, but never anything serious, and definitely not with like skaters that I've been watching for 4 years now, almost. Background: let's see, I skated for 4 years around junior high and high school, in there sometime. And after I got out, I kind of lost interest, I guess, or just was busy, I guess, with college and moving and figuring different things out. So, 2010, where was it? Vancouver, Canada, I think, for the Olympics. I was in my room at home, and my mom was like, "Steph, come look at these skaters. Like, they're really good." And so I came up, and it was Meryl and Charlie, and they were doing their Phantom of the Opera program, and I was transfixed because I always liked pair skating. I always really liked the grace and the lifts and all that. But ice dance back then, to me, it was almost a little too dramatic and too abstract. Like, from what I can remember, the skaters would wear very, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it was more like a theater or a modern dance ballet type. I don't know. I never got into it. It was a little too much for me. It was over the top. But when I started watching Meryl and Charlie, they're very. It shows that they're very educated and very into portraying whatever story it is that they're telling. And the costumes weren't like the weird, like, random, I don't know. They actually looked like dresses or clothes that you'd wear, like, to ballroom dance or to dance a tango or different things like that. And so it really appealed to me that there was more of a discipline to it, I guess. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of how I felt about it. And so this was my first time attending a skating event, and since 2010, I have two main fan sites that I watch, Meryl and Charlie, and occasionally I look at their Twitter just to see what they're doing. And so I've been keeping track of them and their programs over the years, and there's always like a hard stretch between, I guess, over summer vacation, between then and like Skate America and Champs Camp and stuff. But I guess through my experience with school, I've gotten better with research, and so I found these two sites, and they're my main source, I guess, of information. But I've been able to follow kind of just the different things that they're involved with. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Well, this season, I was really invested because I had seen what they could do, and for me, Phantom of the Opera was the best. And I go into that and I see each program and I'm like, okay, how does it compare to that one? Because that was my initial reaction and my first impression, I guess. And it was so good. And to me, I compare all of their programs with that because it was so moving. And I think part of that, even though it was a really good performance, because they have definitely improved over the past few years and pushed themselves and grown. But when I was in high school for marching band, my sophomore year, the year you come in and everybody's older than you and you look up to everybody and you're not really sure what you're doing, in marching band we did Phantom of the Opera, and we did, it was a medley with Music of the Night and just all of the Phantom of the Opera stuff. And we had gotten a new music instructor because the day before band camp, our instructor quit and went to work for our rival school. I don't know much about it, but this new instructor came in and he pushed us, and we didn't like him because in high school you just kind of want to socialize and you don't want to be pushed. But in hindsight, you're like, wow, like he pushed us, and we did this Phantom of the Opera piece. And for marching band, you have different, I played the flute, you have different like shapes you make, and you move across the field and you know where you have to go and to be in this shape with all these people around you. And I think we ended one section of it, I can't remember if it was Music of the Night, but and we all just bow, and it's a really cool thing to see this band of all these people bowing together, and it's a really dramatic effect. I remember the end and I remember the beginning, because usually bands get out there and they just kind of get in their position with their instrument and then they start playing. Well, he added in a little bit more choreography, and we got out there and we had to have our instruments down at our sides, and we did kind of like this, and we had a few sections had masks, or maybe it was the drum majors had the masks, and it was really cool, and maybe that's why that one has stood out so much for me. But anyway, this was the first season where I was like, I want to watch everything. And because I got so into making the figure skating montages, I kind of got a little more familiar with the different competitions and like looking at an ending and comparing it with another ending to the same program. You start to see the things that they change, and you pick up on different endings and different expressions and different hand gestures and just how they tweak things. And I guess along with my experience coaching gymnastics and having to watch for detail and to critique technique and different things to keep an eye on, and learning to communicate with an athlete, this is what you're doing and this is what needs to be changed. Think of this, and you use metaphor and you use different things to get your point across and help them to comprehend what changes need to be made. And then for, I think it was a month, I took figure skating lessons again briefly to do a little bit of ice dance, just because I'd been watching it so much. I was like, I want to see what I can do. And then I kind of felt guilty spending the money on myself because I'm almost 28, and I was like, you know, I have college, I have other things, and so I didn't stick with it. But in that time, I think I did 3 lessons, or 3 lessons. And each lesson we did a different dance, and I got through the first 3 dances, and she said I'd be able to test. And that was fun for me. I think if I were to take lessons again instead of learning the dances, my goal wouldn't be to test and to pass and to become a coach. It would be more to just learn the steps so that I have more tools when I'm at an open skate or something. I can have more tools in my toolbox to skate and to try different things, and instead of just what I know, you know, crossovers, mohawks, 3 turns. Got out there and they just did a bunch of like tricks. They got out there and they're like, okay, this element, this element, this element, this element. And it's like, wait a minute, but you're doing it to music. And it didn't have the choreography. It didn't bring the music to life. And I knew it was the first competition, but I compared it because I was a little bit like, this is an Olympic year. Like, this is supposed to be fantastic. And I know sometimes I over dream things to the point that they're not possible, or it's just too idealistic. But I remember seeing that and feeling a little disappointed. Like, I don't know. It lacked something. So I compared it to the Figure Skating Classic in 2009 when they did their programs and they did their Bollywood dance. And to me, it looked just like the Olympic one. They had the costumes down, they had the choreography down, they had everything. It was so good, and I'm like, okay, is this really... have they lost some of the passion that they had for the sport, and is their heart not in it? Like, something is missing. And I was a little disappointed and worried because of where they were before the last Olympics. Well, the next thing I saw was their Scheherazade practice for the free dance. And I thought, wow, this has potential. They didn't have their costumes on yet, and I was just like, okay, the lifts are cool. They've obviously invested a lot into this, and I was excited to see it. And I don't remember my initial reaction to her costume. I think I thought it was pretty. I really liked the skirt, but it didn't have enough color, and when she was on the ice, it just blended into the ice and her skin tone, and it just didn't look good, especially on poor quality cameras. It didn't come across on television very well. And for the Olympics, most people are going to be watching it on television, and I know they're not doing it for the fans. They're doing it, they want to win gold, they want to push themselves, they want it to be a testimony of how well they can do. And that is most reflected in the score. But that was my initial reaction for the season. But they did interviews. They've been busy with a lot of sponsorship stuff. I guess they got everyone they wanted except Coke this year, which is fantastic. Which is Kellogg's, it's Visa, I don't know who else, but that's very exciting. Watching these interviews, I learned that they are pushing themselves, and that they have big hopes and dreams. Marina, their coach, mentioned that they weren't ready physically for a few of the lifts and different things, and they didn't pull out all the stops in that first competition. So that made me feel better. That made me feel like, okay, they're going somewhere with this. They didn't just put this out and say, okay, Pat, here's what we're doing, and this is just how it's going to stay. They're building on it, and they're pushing themselves, and they're being wise in how they push themselves so they don't overdo it. They've been lucky not to have very many injuries that I know of at all, so definitely not something that they want to risk in an Olympic season. So, okay, on to my Skate America experience. Having done so many montages and so many different things online, working a lot with video, even like really good quality video, it's flat, it's two-dimensional, and going to Skate America was a little frustrating because we were trying to find our way into the parking ramp, and it was like almost 9 o'clock. It was like the last 10 minutes, and we walk in because we finally figured out where we could park, and we walk in and we're just like, okay, this is like a big city and this place is huge, and there just so happens to be a guy walking this way, and he looks like a normal guy, like not a, city sometimes. I mean, you don't just want to trust anybody in a big city. And we were going to ask the security guards in this place, how do we get to the arena? And before we could, this guy comes by, and he's kind of, we were obviously lost. We looked lost. And he's like, are you guys looking to get to the skating? And we're like, yeah. He's like, oh, come on, I'll show you. And I guess he parks over here, and he has this like shortcut that he takes and stuff. Well, his shortcut was blocked off, so the security guards had to tell us anyway, go over here. And he's like, okay. So we walked with him, and he helped us get to where we needed to go. And the whole time we were talking, well, it turns out he works with Meryl's dad. I think his name was Paul, and he was going on about how Meryl's dad buys like 100 tickets for the office, and it's like center ice and whatever, and his wife wasn't able to make it, so he's like, you know what, I'm sure there'll be extra seats, you know, I can get you a seat in center ice, or I'll see if I can. And we're like, wow, thank you. And the whole time he's talking to us, he's telling us about Meryl and sailboating and Charlie and the moms, how they don't sit with the group, they go off, and it was really cool. I was like, wow, what are the chances that there's a connection here, and this guy is just telling us about, you know, all kinds of things, and with the coaches and with the plans, and turns out he hadn't seen them live since they were about 12 years old, and so he was really excited. And anyway, he had nothing but just wonderful, pleasant things to say about both of them. He's like, they're so down to earth, and they're not snobby at all. They're very nice. They're hardworking. They're very competitive. Meryl especially is very competitive, and I guess part of my draw to them, instead of like Tessa and Scott or different things, is just I kind of felt like we were similar. I think Meryl's 26, I'm 27. She's accomplished more than I have, definitely, but there are some things I just thought were kind of alike, you know, and their music choices are always fantastic, and so I suppose that's usually why you become a fan of something. It's someone that's similar to you, but has stronger traits of things that you would like to aspire to be. And they become a role model in some ways. So that was very cool. And we walk in, and I was just like floored. We walked in, and he's like, okay, they're not going to let us go in like until, you got to wait until like whoever's presenting is done. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm just so excited to be here. And so I don't remember who was performing. We missed, I think, the first two couples, which I didn't really know anyway. So I was okay with that. But we walked in, and they were just gorgeous. They're down there sparkling, and it just is. It was wonderful. I would do it again, definitely. So, and I guess I hadn't before, because I've never really had a reason, and following them for 4 years, I was like, you know what, let's do this. This is a lot cheaper than, like, the Olympic seats are like $1,000 a piece or something, like, ridiculous, and I think we paid $20 a piece, maybe, or $30 a piece, which you'd pay for, like, a Goo Goo Dolls concert or something, like, I don't know. So I was like, you know what, it's worth it to me. Like, I think I'll regret it if I don't go watch them, and it's going to be like their Olympic program. And then I remember before we left too, I had seen somebody had put up pictures from their practice of their new costumes, and I was like, oh, they're so good. They're so much better. They're contrasted against the ice, and they're so much more dramatic, and they look great, and they're sparkly, and they're very well suited to the program and the music. And I was so excited. I was picking each event as a different day, and I wanted to see Scheherazade. So I was like, free dance. That's the one I want to see. The gala would be pretty too, but Nate had to work today, so obviously Saturday would work best. So we went, and let's see, we got our seats, and then there was a Japanese pair that did a good job, and I was so excited to be there. So I wasn't very critical at all, and the guy sitting next to us, he had a few things to say, and he was looking down trying to find Meryl's dad. He's like, I'll introduce you, and I was like, no way, like, this is crazy. And he didn't end up seeing him, so that was fine, and he sat with us through most of it, and then he went to go mingle with his friends. So but we're forever indebted to him for helping us get there and getting us center ice seats. Like, thank you very kind of him. So the Japanese pair, they did a great job. They were a little slow, I guess. They usually put them in such a way so that the best teams are last, because you don't want to watch the best ones and then be like, okay, these aren't as good and these aren't as good. They want to give you something to look forward to and have it progressively get more technical and more artistic and all that. So there was a Japanese pair, and Oh, I can't even remember. It went by so fast, and I was trying to document it, and it was very surreal. I couldn't believe I was there and seeing it in like 3D. Like, it's crazy. I know I was kind of far away, but it's different. It's not a flat screen. It's like they're down here and they're actually doing it. And you're like, am I really here? Like, it's crazy to be a part of this, and the Olympic journey. Like, to go and witness, you know, one step on the ladder of that process was really, really neat for me, and I think I probably won't ever forget it. And then just each team was very good, and I think the free dances are about 4 minutes long, and it wasn't long enough. It went by so fast, and before I knew it, it was, let's see, Hubble and Donahue went up, and they did a great job. I wasn't a huge fan of their costumes, I guess, just because they looked more like traditional ice dance costumes, like from the past. I guess they weren't very modern looking, I guess, but they're very nice, and they agreed to a picture afterward, which I thought was really cool. They ended up coming in 4th. I don't know if that means that they're on the Olympic team or not. I don't know how that works, because they're the 3rd place U.S. team, and so I don't know if they all qualify or if it's only the 3. I don't know how that works. I won't pretend to know more than I know. And the Shibutanis were awesome. They skated to a medley, and one of the pieces was Thriller, which everybody laughed. Like, it was very fun to watch, but part of me was like, it's the Olympics, you know, it shouldn't just be pop culture, it should be more like Meryl and Charlie are doing classic literature. It was just so much fun, and having one of Meryl's dad's co-workers, I guess, next to us, giving us like inside information and like just background information, and his input was very cool, and he was impressed, really, really impressed, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was almost like we felt like family, just because of having him there, and the reception we got. And afterwards, I ran into Tanith Belbin, who was there either commentating or doing interviews, I'm not sure, and I asked her if she would take a picture, and she agreed, so that was very kind of her. And I'm always amazed at how much smaller the skaters are in real life, because I think I'm petite, but then they're very small, and they're very muscular, and it's like, I don't know. I wish athletes were were bigger role models than they are, because I think pop singers get way too much credit, and they don't have the discipline, and they don't have any of the integrity and attributes that athletes have. But not that they're perfect people either, but anyway, it was a sparkling evening. It was fantastic. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Skate Canada is next weekend, I believe, and it's gonna cost $2,000 to fly over there, and like $800 to drive over there, and take like a day of like 24 hours of driving. So I'm not gonna get spoiled and get to go watch Tessa and Scott in real life, I don't think, but this was enough, and I'm completely grateful. And I know that maybe the last time they go through the competition circuit, I don't know if they're planning on retiring. It sounds like they have significant others in schooling and lots of stuff lined up for life after skating. So I'm not sure, but I'm glad that I had the opportunity. And if any of you can afford Sochi, I would say definitely go. Don't miss it. It's worth seeing in real life. It's enriching. So that's more than my 2 cents, but that's my experience. And thanks for listening to me rave. And yeah, all of those videos on YouTube are worth watching too. All the programs were very well done, and impressive, and lots of lifts, and lots of great skating. So I was going to show you some of our souvenirs. So just real quick, first of all, Lydia, if you're watching, don't tell your sister. This is her Christmas present. our newest niece, Abby, was born prematurely, and last I knew she was about 4 pounds, which is really tiny. So we found her this tiny little lamb rattle in one of the bookstores in Canada. It's called Coles, but not like the department store. Like it's COLES. But it's so soft and so cute, and we're like, this way she can have a little stuffed animal, even if she's tiny, and it won't be bigger than she is. So, and then we got a birthday card for our other niece, who just turned 4 yesterday, or the day before, I think. Happy birthday, Allie, if you're watching. I'm not sure if they watch my vlogs or not. And then Nathan got me this moose, because the whole trip I wanted a moose. I was like, I want a Canadian moose. And this wasn't actually in Canada. We stopped at a Walmart on the U.S. side of the bridge on our way back home. And it's one of those like pillow pets, I think. It's huge. And he's so cute. I love him to death. But I don't have a name for him except Moose. And I was like, I want to come up with a good, strong Canadian name, because that's how I'll remember the trip. But I looked up all the Canadian names, and they don't sound really any different than like American names. So I had a few ideas. On his tag, he was made in Bentonville, Arkansas. Sorry. So I thought maybe Benton. Or I've been reading a lot of literature lately, so I thought maybe Milton or Melville. Or Melvin. I don't know. But if you all have any names, I would definitely appreciate suggestions, because I've had him a day now and he still doesn't have a name, which is kind of sad. But anyway, I love him and I'm caring for him, and Alice likes him too, I think. Although I'm outnumbered now because I'm the only non-brown-eyed member of the family. But anyway, that's my moose. And that was our trip. It was a wonderful trip in hindsight. Everything, I think, went well. And actually above and beyond what we had planned with like the hotel upgrade and having help getting to the arena, and I don't know. In hindsight, we wouldn't bring the blanket, and I wouldn't wear like 7 layers to the ice arena because they had it pretty warm. Actually, maybe just regular clothes and a coat would have been fine. And then I think I would have left a little bit earlier. It would have been nice to get to the arena maybe 20 minutes early or something, which if that was the case, we wouldn't have had such good luck. But it would be, I think I'd change that. And I think that's it. Everything else was very smooth. I usually do like a hits, misses, and wish list, and I don't have anything for this trip because it was perfect the way that it was. And yeah, we enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. If not, I hope that you just don't watch the video and don't leave me a nasty comment. No, you're free to do as you like. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great Monday and your week is off to a fantastic start. And I don't know when the next adventure will be, but I'll keep you posted. Hope you're enjoying fall, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.